Am I missing something? Did I skip a biology class or two? What's going on, y'all? Glad to have everybody here. Hope everybody's day is going well. Listen, let's get into this topic here. Rapper Brat expecting first child with wife.
Houseway.
And her quote is, "It's been quite a journey." She was on Good Morning America, I believe, on Friday, and she's having her first child with her and her wife. So let's read this story because I have some questions. Let's see. All right. Rapper Brat, 48, with her wife, Jessica Judy Harris Depart, are expecting their first child together. The couple, who first shared the news with People, spoke about their road to motherhood and what the pregnancy has been like. Quote, "It has been quite a journey," Brat, whose real name is Shantae Harris Depart, said. "There's a lot of stuff we learned about women over the age of 40. The rapper, known for her hit Funkified, has said, she and Harris Depart started their road to motherhood last year when they tied the knot in February. At the time, Harris Depart, 41, who is the CEO of Kaleidoscope Hair Products, was launching a new line inspired by her wife and her wife's iconic braids and protective hairstyles. The Brat said that she never thought motherhood was in the cards for her. Her wife was already the mom to 3 kids from a previous relationship. I wonder how did that go? Did she have a baby with another woman? But anyway, maybe we'll talk about the biology part in just a minute. Quote, "I never really wanted to have kids until I met her, until I came out of the closet and started living my life out loud and was able to share with the world who I love. And you know what I love doing with the person I love," the Brat shared during an interview with Good Morning America. She added, quote, "That made me want to just experience everything you can get out of life." The Brat said she was hesitant at first to carry hers and Depart's Harris child. But they ultimately decided that the Brat would carry due to health complications Harris Depart experienced following their egg retrieval procedure. Okay. Says, "We had a little tug of war in the beginning, but I felt like she should have the experience," Harris Depart told police. She is so nurturing, she says. Prior to the Brat's embryo transfer procedure, she said that she faced her own health issues, which included having to undergo surgery to remove fibroids and polyps, which are typically benign, non-cancerous growths in a woman's uterus, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Women who have fibroids are more likely to have problems during pregnancy and delivery, according to the Office on Women's Health. But during their pregnancy journey, the Brat experienced a miscarriage, and that is definitely unfortunate. I would not wish that on anybody. My wife and I, we had 4. My wife and I did, husband and wife, but I wish no one to experience that kind of thing. Quote, she says, "I had never been so excited about something that I didn't even know I wanted," she said. "I fell in love with the idea, and then it was all snatched away from me," end quote. Despite the miscarriage, the couple moved forward with the few eggs they had left and an anonymous donor from their Syro bank. So I guess, my question is, can women generate sperm? I mean, can they inseminate another woman? Again, I don't know. I mean, maybe I missed my biology class. I did have my parents sign my sex ed, letter when I was growing up in school. So maybe they missed something. I don't know, but we'll find out. As the couple began to welcome their child into the world, the Brat said pregnancy has been an interesting experience for her. Quote, "Everything makes me cry," she told People. "If someone wins American Idol, I cry. I'm tougher than that." When asked what her message is for others, the Brat told GMA, quote, "Wherever your dream is or whatever you would like to do in life, you only live once. If you really want a child, you can carry a child. You don't have to give up," end quote, she added. Now, I just wanted to read that because, again, I can't say congratulations to something that I don't believe is a biological possibility. If you have two women whose chromosomes make XX, then that's a woman. And again, maybe you guys can tell me in the comments, am I missing something? Did I audit the biology class? I mean, did you all have the same, biology teacher, sex ed teacher when you were growing up? Did your parents tell you where babies came from, or am I making something up, or am I in the twilight zone? I mean, help me understand this. How do two women have a baby? How do two men have a baby? Isn't that a biological impossibility? I mean, why do you have to go and get a donor if you want to experience what it's like to have, sex with a man and a woman? Because that's last time I checked, I thought a man and a woman make a baby. Maybe I could be wrong, but let's find out. So I was reading, I wanted to know what makes a woman and what makes a man. So in the sciencing article here, differences in male and female chromosomes. Differences in male and female chromosomes by sciencing.com. Again, I'm not going to the Word of God because, the Word of God is outdated for some people. To use the Word of God for your final authority, that's just, you don't want to do that, right? But anyway, so differences in male and female chromosomes. The main differences between males and females are the X and Y chromosomes. Among humans, 2 chromosomes make a woman, and an X and Y chromosome make a man. So I'm not making this up. So 2X equals a woman, and XY make a man. Okay, let's continue. Some differences include size, number of genes, and even abnormal chromosome pairings. In some species, animals have different sex determining system as they have a Z and W chromosome. While the male Y chromosome and female X chromosomes differ in size, they also vary in the number of working genes in the chromosome. The X chromosome contains more than 1,000 working genes, and the Y chromosome has less than 100 working genes. Although males, and this is what they're saying. They said males. They didn't say, calling it a different, letter than what it is. I'm just putting it out here. Although males have an X chromosome, it behaves very differently when there is another X chromosome present compared to its behavior when a Y chromosome is present. Of the working genes on the X chromosome, 2 to 300 are unique to sex, so only 7 to 800 of the working genes are shared and active in both males and females. Notice, males and females. Interesting. So again, I'm just reading this first part here. It says the main difference between males and females are the X and Y chromosomes. Among humans, 2 X chromosomes make a woman, and an X and Y chromosome make a man. So there's a difference between a male and a female.
Hold up. Hey. I didn't know.
So maybe what God instituted and what God created makes more sense than what we want to make sense. But just in case, I wasn't satisfied with that. So here's what I did. I want to know where the babies come from. Because again, maybe I'm just missing it. And I could be. Again, I'm not going to go to the Word of God. I'm not going to go to any right wing. I'm not going to go to any conservative sources. I want to go to a non-religious. I want to go to a source and a site that doesn't even mention God. Or Genesis 1. None of that. I want to mention nothing about what Jesus said about, a man and a woman should become one flesh. None of that. I want to go to another source. Let's see. Where do babies come from? Because again, I may have missed it. Children are notorious for asking funny and sometimes inappropriate questions. However, if your kid is asking about where babies come from, maybe some of us adults need to know that too. However, if your kid is asking about where babies come from or how they're made, you should try to give them an honest answer that they can understand. Yeah, let's be honest. Let's be honest about, where do babies come from? Can two women make a baby? Can two men make a baby? I'm not hating. I'm just asking a question. I'm trying to see something. This will help to prepare them for their future as they are growing up and experiencing the world. When they ask, be sure to assess the situation and tailor your response to be age appropriate. Number one, assessing the situation. Stay calm and relaxed when the topic comes up. It is normal and natural for kids of all ages to ask about babies. It helps to be prepared for this conversation. But even if you aren't, try to stay calm and don't jump to conclusions. Take a deep breath and talk to them like you would about any other topic. Your first reaction might be to laugh or redirect the conversation. However, if you dismiss them, they'll only become more curious about the topic. It's best to address the question when they ask. Because we got to have pictures here, y'all. I need to see pictures. Picture pages like, Bill Cosby. Remember that? Number two, defer to the child's parents or guardian if someone else's child asks you about babies. If you're a babysitter or nanny, the children who you watch might ask about babies or sex at some point. Stay calm and use your best judgment to approach the situation. If it's a body question, answer it scientifically. If it's a question that you think you can't or shouldn't answer, let them know that they can ask their guardians. For example, you could say something like, let's ask your mom when she gets home. Notice, mom, she, not mom, they, or mom, it. It says, this is wiki. This is WikiHow. They're the ones that's giving this. Let's ask your mom when she gets home. Maybe she'll know. Chances are they'll forget about it and you can let their parents know. Parents, plural. Okay. Probably mother and a father. You can let their parents know that the child was curious about babies or sex. If they continue to push your limits and ask more personal questions, stay calm and treat it like you would if they were misbehaving in any other way. Remind them that they shouldn't use dirty words if they're swearing, and then tell them if they continue to do so, you have to call their parents. 3, consider why your child might be curious about babies. While kids are naturally inquisitive, there might be a reason that they're asking this particular question. For example, their teacher at school might be pregnant, or they might have seen a baby on television or in public. If you're pregnant, an older child might become curious about their new sibling. It's very common for children to start asking about babies and pregnancy when there's a new baby on the way. 4, ask them where they think babies might come from. Your child might be asking you about babies to confirm what they already know. If you've never talked about it before, try saying something like, that's a good question. Where do you think babies come from? To see what they know about the topic. If you've discussed babies and pregnancy before, start by confirming what you've already discussed. Say something like, well, we talked about how babies are made, sperm meets an egg, right? When they confirm that they know that information, move on to answering their new question. If they say they don't know, assure them that it's okay. Then proceed with answering their question as best you can. 2, responding to the question. Answer the question that your child is asking. Many parents get flustered because they feel like they have to explain the entire process to their children. Instead, focus on providing a truthful answer to the question that they've asked you. If they ask specifically how babies get out of their mom, you can say something like, babies are born when a person with a uterus pushes the baby through the birth canal, which is a part of their vagina. So would that person be considered a female? Who is this person? Does a man have a uterus? Does a man have a vagina? Just asking. Trying to see something here. Once you answer their initial question, you might ask more, or they might be content. If they don't seem satisfied with your answer, ask them something like, is there anything else you want to know about babies? Do you have any more questions? Tailor your approach to be age appropriate. A younger child doesn't need to know all the specific details about pregnancy and making a baby. For kids under 6 years old, keep the discussion general and simple. As they get older, you can build off of your previous conversations to answer more specific questions. Additionally, there's a chance that a younger child might forget some of the information that you tell them as they grow up. It's likely that you have to have a few different conversations about where babies come from before they really absorb and understand the information. Avoid using slang or euphemisms when talking about sex or sex organs. Treat Genitals, like any other part of the body, when you're talking to your child, use the words penis, vagina, uterus, sex, seed, and egg to refer to the process of making a baby. This will ensure that they don't get confused as they grow up and learn more about topics like sex. I think right now we're already confused because we have people believing and thinking that, hey, two women can make a baby, two men can make a baby, or two women can be parents and two men can be parents. I'm just asking. Is that a biological possibility for two men to create a baby? Do two men have XX chromosomes? Do two women have XY chromosomes? Just asking.
Of course, no, don't be ridiculous.
For example, you can say sperm has to meet an egg to make a baby, to teach them about general reproductive anatomy. You can start teaching your child about their genitals when they are learning the rest of their body parts. By the time they're around 2 or 3 years old, they should know that a female, just reading, second bullet point under number 3. By the time they're 2 or 3 years old, they should know that a female has a vagina. A male has a penis, and some people are intersex. Kind of reminds me of Mr. Rogers and his song about boys and girls and mommies and daddies.
Only girls can be the mommy. Only boys can be the daddy.
It's okay to refer to sex as making love when you're answering questions about making babies, as long as they know that this phrase means having sex. This can help the child to associate babies with something positive rather than something scary or negative. So, if that's the case, how can two people of the same chromosome, how can two men with XY make love? How can two women with XX make love? Just asking, because based on this bullet point here, you said it's okay to refer to sex as making love when you're answering questions about making babies. So if making babies is the process when the seed connects to the egg and a male sperm and a female egg interact and they conceive, which brings conception, then is that not different than two people of the same chromosome? Just asking. I'm trying to learn this because, again, this is all new to me. 4, give simple, but honest answers to children under 5 years old. Younger children tend to be more focused on pregnancy and how babies come into the world rather than the act of sex. Explain that sperm has to meet an egg and that the baby forms in a uterus of a female. A female, not a male. Female, right, WikiHow? Okay. For instance, if they ask how babies are made, you might say something like, quote, sometimes babies are made when two people have sex and the one person's sperm fertilizes the other person's egg. Then the baby grows in a uterus for 9 months until it is big enough to be born. If they're asking about how the baby comes out, explain that the baby comes out of the vagina, which stretches as the baby is born. You might also want to tell them that some parents choose to medically have a surgery to take the baby out of the uterus instead. Be sure to explain that the uterus is part of the vagina and different from stomach, since babies look like they're inside of the parent's stomach. This can be very confusing idea for children. 5, use picture books to help you explain the topic to a younger child and even to some adults. There are many books on the market that explain the process of making and having a baby in simple terms. They often include illustrations that are child appropriate and as non-sexual as possible. If you can't find a children's book that does a good job of explaining the process, try picking up an anatomy book. Maybe more detailed than necessary, but you can use it to show where the baby grows and what genitals look like. Anatomy books are also great for learning the answer to tougher questions like, where does the egg come from? Or how is sperm made? 6, start talking about puberty to your child when your child is between 6 and 12 years old. For females, puberty can start as early as 8 or 9. And for males, it can start around 9 or 10. Talk to them about the fact that puberty would cause changes in their body, shape, mood, and day-to-day life. Let them know that the period is a sign that a person with a vagina is able to have a baby, and talk about how ejaculate from the penis can fertilize an egg if they have sex. For example, if your child asks about when they'll get their first period, you can say something like, most people with vaginas get their first period when they're between 9 and 16 years old. Some people get it earlier and some get it later. Your first period is a sign that your body is starting to become sexually mature. And it means that you could get pregnant if you have sex with somebody with a penis. You see how they're starting to change and morph a little bit? Because who has penises? Well, we just discovered here that males have penis, right, Wiki? Try to talk about puberty as something that is normal and natural because it is. Build off the conversations that you've had with them when they were younger. And let them know that puberty might cause them to think about sex more often. Let the other children know that you're still there to answer their questions. While like an older kid might think that they're all there to know about sex, that's not always true. If you establish yourself as someone who they can talk about or talk to about sensitive topics, be prepared for more specific questions. For example, a teenager might ask something like, can I get pregnant from having oral sex? You can remind your teenager that you can still help them answer their questions by saying something like, I know growing up can be confusing, but if you have any questions about relationships or your body, you can always talk to me. Use their questions to remind them about the risks of having sex without giving them a lecture. For the oral sex example, you can say you can't get pregnant from having oral sex, but you can get an STD. Don't assume that your child is asking about sex because they're having sex. It's very possible that they're just asking because they were talking with their friends about the topic or saw it in a movie. Encourage diversity when discussing where babies come from. It is widely, here it is right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I read all that to get to this point right here, the 8th point right here. Encourage diversity when discussing where babies come from. Now they're saying, this is their admission, their acknowledgement, ladies and gentlemen. It is widely acknowledged that babies are born when a man and a woman have sex.
Oh, Lord.
So we can stop right there. We can stop right there. We can stop right there. Nothing else matters, ladies and gentlemen, right? I mean, if all they said, if all that Wiki said brings us here, it is widely acknowledged that babies are born when a man and a woman have sex. And if that's the case, then what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Just asking. Or in the words of hope I'm getting the gospel artist right. Is it the Hawkins family? What is this? Yeah. What is this? Just asking. Because whatever it is, no, I don't want this. Yeah, I don't want this. Because I'm trying to be logical about this. I'm just asking questions. If what they said, that it is widely acknowledged that babies are born when a man and a woman have sex, then what is this? Or when two men claim to be having a baby, that means somebody's egg and sperm had met. And last time I checked, two men don't have an egg. Both have sperm. Two women don't have sperm. Both women have eggs. So that means is it a possibility that this is a biological impossibility? Has to be. It says, though, it is widely acknowledged that babies are born when the man and the woman have sex. However, this is not always the case. There are several methods for having a baby, they said. For example, a lesbian or transgender couple may use in vitro fertilization. Yeah, of course you would have to use that. Yeah, because they're saying right here, these are methods of having but not with the couple, though, right? You have to go outside to get what is naturally possible. Because you said, Wiki, that babies are born when a man and a woman have sex. So then what happens when two men have quote unquote sex, or two women have quote unquote? Does a baby come from that? Okay. It says, for example, a lesbian or transgender couple may use in vitro fertilization to start a family. A gay couple may ask for a family member or friend to be a surrogate. Why? And some non-binary transgender people with vaginas may carry a baby. Yeah, because you still have the parts, right? Wiki says it's important to teach and understand that not all babies are born to cisgender women and men when they have sex. Well, all babies are born, as you said, when a man and a woman have a baby. So then wouldn't that mean and presuppose that that's the only way that a baby can come when a man and a woman have sex? But not when two of the same have it? Just asking. Just asking. But I'll stop there. So I just wanted to read that because I wanted to know what I mean, the Brat is claiming to have a baby, but how do you have a baby if it's not from a man? Because based on what Wiki said, to transgender or lesbian and gay couples, they have to go outside and get a surrogate or in vitro fertilization. But it said here that it is acknowledged. They admit that a baby comes when a man and a woman have sex. Isn't that what God intended in the first place? But what do I know? Like I said, maybe I missed biology class. I may have skipped that course. May have skipped that period. I don't know. But if I did, please let me know. Please tell me in the comments below. Am I tripping? Am I the only one that's seeing this thing differently? Or are we on the same page? Or does God know what he's talking about because he's all wise and all knowing, and he's the one who created sex and family for his purpose and ultimately for his glory? But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm trying to see something.